Some ghosts never die, apparently. And, you know, with even that first movie, which I understand didn't fare too well, it was very much a treat to watch for trailers. It was quite the experience. But apparently La Llorona is not gone. She is now being reborn, essentially, through RLJE Films. This is their own original take, I guess. And it's not just them. This is also a Shudder, Shudder, I don't know, I think it might be a Shudder exclusive. Shudder is a streaming service, I believe, specifically based around horror. I'm not as familiar with them. I've checked out a couple projects that have been tied to their brand in the past. I need to get better acquainted. Even though, again, like I've said with horror films, I'm very mixed, you know, when I approach the genre. I like scary movies. But for me, you know, there's just certain content grievances I have going in. I understand this does limit my focus in terms of the scope of projects I can cover. I'll cover them, but most of the time. But ones I would even consider watching. For me, I'm not a big gore person. I mean, if it's artistically done and done in a limited fashion, not like Saw level, that would make me sick. But you know, I'm not a gore fan in that regard. But also, you know, it's like dark supernatural stuff. I mean, as a Christian, I'm very sensitive to that type of content, so I don't tend to partake on that level. But and so maybe there's a bunch of projects on Shudder that would not appeal to me in that regard. I have no idea. Now, paranormal, you know, I tend to make a distinction between the two, and I'm a little looser when it comes to paranormal stuff. Like maybe La Llorona, which again, I thought, you know, from the other movie, The Curse of La Llorona, which came out prior to, I would say it's been funny. I've talked about this lightly in retrospect as well. I don't watch the Conjuring movies. But at the time, you know, that movie was associated as, maybe in particular because maybe the studio was like, well, you know, this wasn't going to fare as well, which it didn't. Although the trailers were scary. Again, it was a fun experience. But at the time they advertised it being like, oh, you're from the producers of The Conjuring. So you think, oh, maybe it's just a new movie, it's unrelated. No, it's actually a part of that franchise. They just didn't tell you. You're like, huh? Okay. Odd decision, but maybe in retrospect I get why. Because the studio's kind of like, oh, well, we'll see. Although they started advertising like a way out earlier. But the trailers did look fun. And I decided, even though, again, I don't cover the Conjuring movies, I don't watch them, I'm like, you know, I'll keep those up. The specific videos for La Llorona, because it is a tamer of the movies so far that have come out from that line. Again, that's a very supernatural horror area. But that one, I guess La Llorona is more paranormal. Kind of supernatural, but not like I consider maybe in a way. I'm like, oh, you know, maybe I would watch this. I haven't watched it yet. It's kind of scary. But again, knowing it's part of the Conjuring, so I'm kind of reluctant too. But the trailers were fun, which is why I keep them up. But again, this is a new take. This is a different version of La Llorona from another studio. Let's see how scary this one is. Because again, those trailers were so much fun to watch for The Curse of La Llorona. So let's take a look at this one and see what this one has to offer. Again, being a Shudder production, I believe. This is according to IMDb, what we can expect for the movie. An aging paranoid war criminal, protected by his faithful wife, faces death while being haunted by the ghosts of his past. Ooh. So did something happen like in childhood with La Llorona? You know, she does come for the children. Perhaps there's some sort of trauma there. Maybe he was exposed as a kid to La Llorona. Maybe La Llorona failed in her efforts to grasp control. I don't know. We'll see how it works, but that's very foreboding of a synopsis. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how the execution is with the overall movie. So we're going to watch the trailer for La Llorona. La Llorona. It's like, here we go again. It's not The Curse of La Llorona, though. This is very different, I guess. Well, I would imagine similarities to the original, the figure in, I guess, folklore, but I think it's specifically like Mexican folklore, right? I think it is, but it's very interesting. I don't know. It's a creepy tale, but makes for good entertainment. So we're gonna watch this first. We're gonna talk about it more in my condensed use of us watching the video together. Okay, without further ado, here we go. Let's take a look.
Lo que se quedó atrás.
Has the same grounded color palette that Curse of La Llorona did too. It feels similar, but it feels distinct in its own way. Although again, it appears like a high-budget film in that regard, but it's filmed very differently. And I got awards. Curse of La Llorona can't speak to that. A lot of quiet shots. Uh-oh. I have not seen Gyro's work, but perhaps maybe this will be the first introduction. Oh, okay. It's quite the promise. Let's see.
Todos tienen miedo. Este encierro nos está enfermando.
Political horror. That's interesting.
Te prohíbo pensar eso.
I'm not used to that attribution.
Es una invasión. ¿Cuándo nos irán a dejar en paz?
Is she tied to like the girl, maybe? Told you, she's going after the kids. I didn't see much of the weeping woman here, though. It's mostly like her implications, or the implications that she's there.
Lo que se
Or
queda
she's
atrás
active.
está atrás.
Is it? I'm sure there are a lot of people in the scope of the story who would beg to differ on that one. Like, well, then who's threatening me? No, it's someone pranking. No, I don't. I'm curious. Like I said, I'm looser on paranormal stuff, but I believe that the La Llorona does have some spiritual implications to the actual, like, phantasmic idea of her. So on that level, it's interesting to me consider watching this trailer that she's not there. Or not as present as I guess the ghost form was in The Conjuring, or not The Conjuring, The Curse of La Llorona, or I guess the movie that's in the Conjuring space. Which that one I would say again. I think this is very artistic in terms of trailer. Like, I feel like I'm watching an awards film pitch here with this version. Just again, it's filmed differently, very similar in the grounded color scheme. Which again, the two are similar in the subject of the ghost that they're depicting, but they're each a very different take. The other one definitely relied, I would say, on jump scares more from the trailers, which again made for like a really fun experience taken away from that. Because again, I loved watching those trailers so much; it was quite an experience. I don't know about this one though. We'll see. But I like I was saying, the weeping woman is not as present here in the trailer in, I guess, her expected form. You can kind of see shades of her, at least the results of her being there. So I'm wondering, is she more like a ghost here, or is she more supernatural in nature? And if it's more supernatural, like I'm speaking like in terms of like being like a dark presence or something, that I might be reluctant to watch. So I don't know. But I will say again, it seems like it's a very high quality film from RLJ Studios and Shudder. But again, I feel like I'm watching an awards pitch. Similar, yet distinct in its own way. So I don't know. Again, if I do choose to watch this eventually, I will consult content reviews to best understand what I'm seeing. But, or what I'm in for. And again, maybe how La Llorona, not that I would want to spoil myself going in, but the understanding to which she's operating, is it more from a paranormal ghost space, or is it like a supernatural presence? That, for me, would be a very important distinction to make in terms of how the final decision to me approaching whether I'd watch this film or not. But again, it looks scary, it looks very ominous, but I love the grounded color palette. The political horror element it's interesting too, and it seems there are implications with the individuals involved. Like, you feel like you're kind of sort of like a public meeting. I haven't watched too many political horror films, though. Maybe ones with political allegories, but not necessarily themed in political horror. That's a very interesting description. It's not a term I've heard thrown around too often. This could be, again, an adventurous movie. I have no idea. We'll see. What are your guys, I would assume you can watch on Shudder because they're the ones putting it out, or at least their names attributed here. What are your guys' thoughts with La Llorona? And how do you think it compares to the past version? I would imagine where some people are like, well, from what I heard from the reviews and the overall box office reception, that film was not great. Well, the trailers were really fun to watch, though. Anyway, whatever your thoughts are on this film, let me know down below. Don't forget all that stuff. Like, subscribing, and sharing that bell until we get to watch more. I don't know if it will be La Llorona. But what a film. Maybe there'll be another take on the weeping woman in the future. Who knows? But whatever film we get to watch together next for the first time. I'll see you guys then. But for now, thanks for watching this video. I love you guys. Don't love your fellow man. God bless. And peace.